BlackRock chose to partner with Coinbase because of its scale in the market. Here to break it all down, our crypto contributor, Sonali Basak. Sonali, Coinbase investors loved this news.
It's so interesting, Emily, because if you look at Coinbase shares, they really took a leg higher today. It's up about 10% on the day. Pre-market, that jump was much bigger, so it paired some of those gains for the day. But it's so interesting, especially because Coinbase's shares have gained almost more than 40% over 3 days. So you're really seeing some of the gains come back to Coinbase, a stock that's down still more than 60% this year. I want to flip up the board a little bit and talk about what Wall Street really feels about Coinbase, because you're seeing one of the biggest players come into it. The 12-month price target for Coinbase has also come down meaningfully among some of these larger challenges. Even with some love from people like BlackRock, you have Coinbase's 12-month price target still really flying at around $100, $101 per share. If you look at it today, it's just below 90. If you flip up the board again, you still see, again, with all the challenges, still love from Wall Street. About 58% of folks say buy. 25 say hold, which is basically, we don't really know how to feel about things given all the volatility. 16% said sell. So there's been a lot of questions around whether the momentum would move to the downside for Coinbase. Emily, I have to say, what is also interesting is the opportunity provided here from BlackRock, because this partnership, not just with BlackRock, but with a part of BlackRock that's called Aladdin, it gives you exposure not just to big institutional investors. Aladdin works with a lot of wealth management platforms across Wall Street and around the globe. And the reason that's interesting is it potentially exposes you not just to institutional clients, which is a growth area for Coinbase, but more people that can really fly into the more traditional retail business at a time when rivals like Robinhood are under a lot more pressure.
What does this mean for Coinbase longer term? Obviously, the crypto winter is not over. Maybe this is the beginning of something, but how much farther, how much colder, how cold is the road going to get ahead?
So that's a question, because it's all correlated to Bitcoin prices, and you saw something similar when it came to Block's earnings that reported after the market closed today. This idea that transactions have really slowed. Remember, a lot of the retail investors that got into cryptocurrencies at the end of last year are very much in the red, and so how much powder is there left on the sidelines for investors to get back into it and volumes to come back again? The good news for Coinbase is, and you saw it here with Robinhood just this week, when you see some of the rivals under pressure here, it is good news for Coinbase, and you saw it reflected in Coinbase's stock. But just for a sense of how far we've fallen for Coinbase, I mean, this is still a company that's under $20 billion in market cap. This was once $75 billion in market cap, and that was at the end of last year. So how quickly can Bitcoin recover, get back to 60, 70,000? I think it has a lot to do with whether Coinbase can regain its former glory, and whether that even matters if people see enough crypto adoption moving forward among the big institutions like you saw today with BlackRock.
So, what are you looking for next year? Obviously, we've seen a wave of difficulties for, there's been bankruptcies, there's been increasing regulatory scrutiny, there's been this big letter from, hundreds of skeptics to Congress. What's going to be the next inflection point in the story of crypto?
We've been talking about it a lot, you and I, this idea of Coinbase versus the SEC. Why does that matter so much? Because exchanges, Coinbase, FTX, the more that they, don't part with the SEC, you wonder if they look more like traditional exchanges, like the New York Stock Exchange, like the Chicago CBOE, the Board Options Exchange. FTX has been highly regulated, working with a lot more traditional players here, and you wonder if there's a future where people list a token, they go public, they don't necessarily choose between the two or do both. The worlds are merging, so the question to me is, how much does Coinbase embrace that? Again, like you see today with a big institutional partnership, or how much do they stick to kind of the heart of crypto, which was very focused on decentralized finance and things that were so far away from Wall Street as we know it?